So it's my pleasure and honor to welcome you, Amy, to this little corridor, this little conversation about one of the things that you do very best at, which is herbalism, and specifically, we're looking at the parasite cleanse that you make. And yeah, and it's a absolutely fabulous product. I came across it a couple of years ago and just have been sending everyone on the cleanse to it, and they just keep coming back and back to it. So I thought it would be nice to get you on to talk about that, how you make it, why you make it, what you know about parasites, and yeah, just to hear from you in that respects. So welcome and thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and share with you a little bit about parasites and about this particular parasite cleanse. Just a general background. So, at the moment in the world, it's a very, very good thing to drop our parasite load. There is there there is there is a high parasite load I'm noticing among people that I treat at the moment, and they're coming in all through like different ways. Water, there's many different ways they come through, and even even generally, it's a good idea to do a parasite cleanse at least once or twice a year. So a lot of farmers know that. They know that parasites come through, all the different things that we eat and our feet as well. And so the other good thing to understand is a parasite life cycle. So there's a myriad of different parasites, and so it's hard to cover them all on here, but just generally speaking, it's good to know that around the full moon is when they reproduce, is when they have their babies. So that's when they're multiplying, basically. And around the full moon is the best time to work with parasites, and that actually goes into parasitic energy as well. So I work physically and energetically, and I always notice the plants that work in a specific ways physically, they're doing the same thing energetically, and that's the same with the parasite this parasite cleanse. And so going back to the full moon, so that is why typically we go for treating parasites the most around the full moon. So like a week before and a week after is a really best time to hit them hard. There is a lot of different things you can do, like like what Annalise has already, like cloves and cinnamon. Um, and also, there's such a range of parasites at the moment that we're needing to treat and keep at a lower level in our bodies. So that's why I made this parasite cleanse. It took me about 20 years to be happy with this recipe. Most of the stuff that I make, um, I make the recipe, make them very quickly and put them out there, and people can have them. But people are asking for a parasite cleanse, and I just wasn't happy with my recipe yet because, like I was saying, there's so many different angles that you need to address in order to clear a lot of them, and physically and energetically. And so the other year, I think a year before, just the year before the coronavirus stuff started, I finally got happy with the recipe, and so we made this. And I thought it was going to be a few and far between one, which I was had my fingers crossed about because there's a lot of roots in the medicine, and so I wasn't actually keen on kind of selling it, which sounds counter to intuitive, but it is a lot of work because there's a lot of different roots, plant roots in it. And but as it happened, it seems like everyone needs a parasitic remedy these days, and a good one. So it's been in demand. And what else can I tell you about it? So the other reason it's good to hit parasites around the full moon is uh, if you can have a couple week break, then your body doesn't get adjusted to um, taking taking, say, this is a strong one, so it doesn't get adjusted to taking the parasite cleanse all the time. But also in so saying, if you do get this particular one from Plant Rhythms, it is also, you can take it if you feel bloated, and if you're not digesting something, or if you've eaten some food that's off, and it will just pass that parasite, or if it's E. coli or something, straight out of the body. So it's not, you don't just have to use it around the full moon. It's useful in other ways, and will help to clean your blood. It's super anti-cancer. It's got bloodroot and chaparral in it, so it stops out of control cell growth. A lot of people are getting what's called turbo cancers these days, so that's another thing that's it's actually a very good use for it. In some schools of thought, cancer is actually a parasite, and it will just uh, clean your blood, stop the cells growing out of control, and it just has super strong anti-cancer effects. And so it's a blood vessel cleanser, it's a immunity tonic, and it's a parasite cleanse. Does a lot of other things. There is one that I often use with it, and maybe you all will have something to go along with it, but I do recommend taking a liver tonic and or kidney tonic with it, just because it will support your body while you're clearing out. So, or you could just eat bitter foods if you take the parasite cleanse.
Yeah, well, that was going to be one of my questions, as to what other things that you recommend with that. So a liver or a
Yeah.
kidney support, absolutely. And we do recommend that that people in the cleanse up their bitters as much as possible as well.
Yeah, that's a great thing for your liver and your gallbladder. The other one that I use of the Plant Rhythms range is, it's called Detox Restore Health Now. And I just threw a whole bunch of different native trees that are specialized in those areas, including milk thistle, and the lost remedies in there as well. So there's that option, and you can do exactly what you said, like strong bitters like dandelion, dock, puha, all of those things. The kidneys are a little harder to treat, and I guess that's a good thing to do at the same time as the liver, but the dandelion root will help the kidneys as well. And there's a lot of kidney stuff, kidney herbs and trees in the Restore Health Now one.
Like, just going
Yeah.
back to what you said about, taking you so long to get that recipe just right. I've been trying lots and lots of parasite cleansers and detoxing herbs, and nothing really, I could feel that it wasn't
Yeah.
quite cutting the
Yeah.
mustard. And so your one, when I came across it, you just know when a medicine's working, and when it's not working.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think I would, unless it was this specific and this necessary, I don't think I'd necessarily endorse one range over another.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is really specific and important. And also, I think the other thing that's really important, and it'd be nice to tell our people about it, is how you go about making your medicines, because there's what I see, a lot of integrity in your relationship with the natural world.
Oh yeah. Thank you. So I end up spending like quite a large part of the year harvesting, because for me, the most important part is the relationship. So I'm harvesting, but I'm not harvesting like with a it's not like, oh, I'm it's not necessarily like for monetary gain or anything like that. For me, it's because I love having the relationship with the plant. So if I can make something, or if there's a few people that help now, if we can make something that is useful, then it's bonus, really, because everything comes from our relationship with ourselves and the natural world, as far as I'm concerned. And for me, it's really important that the relationship is the main thing. because you can actually heal a lot of things just with your relationship with a certain plant. Like, we're saying, oh, the nature of this remedy and recipe is really good. And also, um, if how do you explain it? You can heal a lot of things just by sleeping with garlic under your pillow and having a relationship with that plant. So it goes beyond that. And if you take this parasite cleanse, you can do the same thing with the plants. You invite them in to be part of your journey and start to connect with the energies or the frequencies that you're taking into your body, because all plants do is they're holding the image of our perfection that we just forgot about in their DNA. So they're just reminding us of our perfection already. Basically, they're reminding us of our perfection energetically, spiritually, and also of our optimal functioning physically. And I found it actually in an old alchemy book something ages ago that I had noticed for a while. And they said that they actually call them little pictographs in the DNA of different plants. And they just, I, plants used to be regarded as gods and goddesses in their own right, in terms of, um, in terms of their importance and their respect that we have for them. So that's also why I wasn't happy with the recipe for ages, because I didn't feel like I was doing the plants justice. When you have like a circle of people, in this case, it was a circle of plants, but there was a couple people or plants missing from that circle. So it was just waiting for those two plants to come in. Yeah.
I
So,
love that. I think that's
yeah.
so absolutely beautiful. And part of what is really important for me on this cleanse is that it is a homecoming to the body. It's about coming back to our essence nature. So, like you said, it's about creating a relationship. And for me, it's not necessarily about taking all the crap out of your diet and being a better person. It's just about actually uncovering who we are in relationship to the world, because our essence is connected to the natural world, so much so. And that to me is really quite a fundamental part of, especially this April cleanse, which is return to essence. And then the October cleanse is light and frequency, which is about sort of more tuning into the light energies, whereas this essence-based one is really connecting back in with our relationship with the earth and the plants. Yeah. So it's
Oh,
beautiful.
that's really interesting, because yeah, that's really interesting, because when you bring in different frequencies, and in this case plant frequencies, that's what their frequencies of ourselves, aren't they, like reflected out and then reflected in when you take them in. So there's some manuka in here. I'm trying to remember all ingredients now. There's manuka, which can help people help you face your fears. And also, it's kind of like an eye of a needle plant when you see the light on the other side. So it helps you go through the eye part of the needle.
And we
Um,
definitely do go through in the cleanse, there's definitely a squeeze. There's a
yeah,
point where it's really hard and it's horrible and it's like, and then,
yeah,
there's that sort of liberation on the other side. So Manuka, cool.
yeah, manuka. There's quite a bit of harakiki in here, so that it's to do with resolving and being with grief. Um, Apart from the other physical alkaloids in it. So every plant in the world has 600 to 800 different alkaloids, the ones that we call like more medicinal, and have more of a chemical nature. And so when you tincture them and make extracts, you're basically concentrating hundreds of chemicals, actually. So people say, oh, natural things are chemical free. Well, actually they're not. They're full of more chemicals, but they're working in a whole form. So you're not just getting one chemical that you're intaking to the body, and the body's going, what's that? There's no balance there. So it's the difference between me taking your smile and putting it in a bottle, and then taking yourself as a whole person and putting it in a bottle and giving it to everyone. So you get something that the body and the spirit understands, and that works on more levels than you can imagine, because a lot of them are unseen. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. which thankfully is starting to come more into light in the world.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
probably were seen to our ancestors more like you said, back in the day, the plants had, goddess and god status, and that's, I really feel that as we're looking for these things that help us, take toxins out or become better people, whatever we're searching for, ultimately we're just looking for that reconnection.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the reconnection and our wholeness, which is already here. And that's where the word healing comes from, is holing. Holing,
right.
WHOLING. It's a holing of our own selves and our own connection to the divinity within, without, all around. And that's
Right.
basically what plants help you do in a
Yeah.
nutshell. Yeah.
Beautiful. I can feel that little, I can feel
Yeah.
little tingles coming through and little plants having this sort of relationship to me right now. It's cute.
Yeah, it's really good. So there's plants in here which are to do with your backbone and your support of your own self and your alignment, your
Yeah.
spiritual alignment, but also your spinal alignment,
Mhm.
believe it or not. So it
Mhm.
helps with that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's really,
Yeah.
really important because that's the central line of your nervous system, right? Which is the
Hmm.
the central po, which the Kundalini rises up, and Kundalini is energy, right? So of course it
Yeah.
makes sense that these things
Yeah.
can work on a functional structural level as well as biological,
Yeah.
waterborne, bloodborne,
Level.
components,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the whole thing.
There's I better say too, there's some really strong, I mean, apart from the chaparral and the bloodroot and the things you mentioned before, there's other really strong lymphatic cleansing plants in here. So what that can mean is, so some people may or may not notice things physically even when they do a parasite cleanse, because they don't start from the point of, oh, my tummy is very bloated, so I'm going to take the parasite cleanse, and then they see their stomach straight away feels better. They don't, if you don't start from that point, sometimes it's hard to see it physically, right? Because you
Mhm.
can't see the things coming out in the toilet because they're like micro, they're so small. um, but what you will notice is, so one person phoned me up and said, oh, I can't really feel it working, and how can you tell? And I was like, oh, okay, she's been taking these strong cleansing plants. That's interesting. Yeah, it is hard to feel when you're taking lymphatic plants. So but a side issue is it's really good to get lymphatic massage, right, when you're doing a parasite cleanse. Anyway, I said to her, back to the phone call, I said, well, what's the state of your house? How's your house looking? And she said, oh, that's funny you should mention that, because it's the tidiest it's ever been. And I was like, oh, well, that's how you can tell when a lymphatic plant's working, because what you'll find you do on the outside is the same as what's happening in your body. So when your lymph is getting cleared up, because it's the last part of clearing in your physical body, you'll find that all of a sudden things around you, you're tidying up a lot. The other thing you can have, and just as preparation, is people or situations that no longer serve you, or things you need to let go of, they will just pass out of your life. You could go through some grief around it, but it's just facilitating those processes.
Yeah,
So
and we
yeah,
do take all of that into consideration on the cleanse as well.
yeah,
It's
I thought you would. Yeah,
try to keep it as holistic as possible, and understand that it will show itself in different ways, and to be prepared for these things, and also to create we do it in community, so to create a container around people as they go through these type of losses and what have you, and also bringing.
letting
Yeah,
go. Yeah,
absolutely. And
yeah,
I mean, one of the things that I start out with is like, you're going to get uncomfortable. So you kind of got
yeah.
to get used to the fact that it's going to be uncomfortable for a bit, but there's always
Great.
liberation behind that uncomfortable feeling. There is the spaciousness that comes, when we
Yeah.
let something go. We all know that feeling when we go to the op shop and give away a box of stuff. There's this liberation.
Mm. Just remember to fill it up with love,
Fill
because
it
where
up with
there's a
love so you
vacuum,
don't fill it up with more.
you want to fill it straight up with something good.
Yes.
And
Actually,
it's so true about the change, because you're basically facilitating change. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I wanted to also mention is that the reason that we do daily movement is for that whole lymphatic thing as well, is that, you know, a lot of people may not realize that the lymphatic doesn't have its own pumping system. So it relies on us moving our body in quite big circular ways to get the lymphatics moving. And so that's why we have daily movement in the cleanse as well, for that reason, to get the lymphs going, which help
Yeah.
obviously extract toxins and
Oh, that'll help a lot,
yeah.
the walking even. And the other thing, I forgot to say, so when you're taking this parasite cleanse, and it's the same um with anything that kills parasites. I don't know if you've heard of the old turpentine remedy.
Yes.
So black Americans, that was done very commonly. And so you just put a little bit of turpentine on a piece of sugar. And now the reason that you take the sugar at the same time as the turpentine is because that brings out all the stuff into your bloodstream, because a lot of parasites hide in the muscles and things like that. So they all come out because they feed on sugar. That's their food.
Yes.
So and then the turpentine can kill them. And it's the same principle with this parasite cleanse. So you, even if you are, if you're eating a couple times a day, you just take it 5 or 10 minutes before you eat. So it goes in your system, and then you put a little bit of food in there. It doesn't have to be sugary, and they'll all come out and get killed basically. And then on the physical anyway. And it's the same if you're not eating, well, if you're eating very lightly, even if you just have avocado or a piece of toast or anything, or a cup of tea, just take it right before you have that. And I would do it 2 or 3 times a day when you're doing it.
Yes.
The doses is on the bottle. It's I take about 6 to 8 dropperfuls as needed. But that is actually why I made it in the first place, because I was finding the same thing as you. I got what was it, Campylobacter a while back, and I was really blown away that nobody knew how to fix it properly. There's antibiotics, but they're very hit and miss, and as we know, quite poisonous. And then um so I was trying out different ones, and I was trying out ones that I made, and I was like, nope, it needs to be a combination. And it wasn't until I really got that all together, it gave me a better understanding that because different parasites help each other as well. So you kind of got to knock a broad spectrum out at the same time. And that's also what led me to be so interested in making it. And it's fascinating to me that in our culture, not more people know, once or twice a year. It's normal, and people have always known this. Indigenous groups, people that live close to the land, we've always known that you need to do some sort of active parasite cleanse once or twice a year. So that's even if you're got nothing going on. And the other thing with the nature of this parasite cleanse is it probably, if you can hold some awareness around what it will show you in your actual life. So it will show you things like if there's people or situations around you that are taking more than you're receiving, so that it's not in balance, i.e. parasitic energy. So it's a really good thing while you're taking the remedy to notice, did I feel like recharged after that interaction or after that activity that I did, or do I feel depleted? Because it will teach you how to receive better, basically, and balance the giving and receiving in your life. So
Wow.
those are some of the other energetic levels as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also one that will does unhook old energy cords. So it's got things in it for that as well. So if
Right.
you're wanting to unhook old cords or ties that are negative and no longer for your highest good, that's another side of it.
Yeah, and to be absolutely aware that, once those things are unhooked, there is that need to recalibrate to your own energy, like you said, fill it with love, fill it with
Yeah.
goodness. And I think that on a physical level, that's another thing that we're doing with the cleanse, is like we're filling it with wholesome nutrition and, care,
Yeah.
self-care. So yeah, that's really important to realize as well. And I love the idea of that it works energetically to release things, which, on some level, we're looking for food to do these things, and then but that sometimes it's actually just an energetic thing that we don't have the tools or tricks for yet.
Yeah, but we'll have like that instinctive knowing, because we're multidimensional. So it's just helping ourselves access all those different parts of our being.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Cool. Oh, thank
And so
you.
I'll tell you, so all the plants in here in the parasite cleanse are they're mostly found in their places they love to grow wild. So they're got a really strong life force as well. Yeah, and there's a lot of roots in this one. So it's very grounding as well.
It's so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the difference between, growing the herbs or wildcrafting, and you wildcraft, don't you? Which means you go into the environment where these plants grow and you establish a relationship, I imagine, be like, hey,
Yeah.
let's start, check
You
that
sure
they're,
do. They start very much actively participating in your life. So
yeah,
it's like what you say, because they're in places where they're exalted. It's like me finding you in a place where you're happiest, and getting to connect with you there, as opposed to connect with you some place that's not nurturing you the same, because they've chosen to go there, and they're often, sometimes it looks like they struggle, but like in windy places or things like that, but actually they're so strong as a result. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that a lot. I could keep opening this conversation because all these plants keep coming in. They keep be like, evening
Yeah.
primrose just came in and said, talk to Amy about evening primrose. And I was like, no, you just wait a minute.
Another conversation.
It's another conversation. I hear you.
Ah, funny. Yeah.
Beautiful. Cool. All
Mhm.
right. Well, thank you. So what, I
So,
guess just in
mhm.
closing, anyone that is like taking this module and getting in contact with you to order the herbs, do you do ongoing like consultations? So if somebody tries
Uh,
it, they like it, and they want to talk to you more
yeah.
about it, or
So if anyone needs like a personal consult or like plant reading, they can always contact me. I can do phone ones remotely or in person. The other thing is, I mean, they may be the case that they can just talk to you and you can order them in bulk if they're in the same area, or they can order them directly through the Plant Rhythms website.
Mm.
So they're under embodiment. Oh, that's a good thing. They're under embodiment range on the website of, because there's about 100 different plants and native trees on the Plant Rhythms website, but they're under the embodiment range, or you could just go straight to the shop and
Mm.
order it there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah.
And
Or give me a
we'll
phone call, or give me a call. I don't mind. Yeah.
yeah, because I think
Yeah.
after the cleanse, some people might want to carry on a herbal journey as well,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
or even, I know that we have a lot of people who come back time and time again, and they might want to contact you like a month before and go, hey, I'm going towards this, what do you think I should do? And so there's yeah, just good to know that, good to let people know that you're there and you have the tools to be able to support them, before or after, and that this beautiful product is part of this module of parasite cleansers. And although this module that I'm creating has free, like we mentioned, the cinnamon and stuff is the free food focus
Mm.
component to it, that they can make that investment and buy this incredibly potent powerful medicine from you.
Oh, thank you. And it's amazing to be doing it, if people can, to do it at the same time as what you're doing, because they're held.
Yeah,
And it's a good thing. It's a very strong thing to do it that way, and very intentional, and you'd get some really amazing results because you're holding it in that communal way and with
yeah,
awareness. So that would be an honor for the herbs to be used that way.
yeah. And
Yeah.
ultimately, plants don't grow in isolation, do they? And it's
No.
I feel personally it's really time that we start working more in these collective spaces and you know, helping each other, nourishing each other, holding each other, but also sharing the transmutations and stuff. You know, one person
Yeah.
can do a lot of work and it can actually have a ripple effect through a group quite
Yeah.
easily.
The witnessing is game changing. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a,
Yeah.
it's upgrading, you know, as soon as one person upgrades, everyone kind of upgrades, you know, or as
Yeah.
soon as one person opens a little aspect of themselves, it starts to move that in other people. And I've seen that. We had a one cleanse that was one series of work that I was doing, and it started to rattle um the
Thing.
alcoholic gene tendency. And as soon as
Yeah.
that started rattling, I could feel the whole world starting to rattle and start to, you know, go, what's going on? And you know, another time we've had a cacao chocolate rattle, you know, that starts to rattle and it starts to rattle in everybody else. And you know, so we do the work together and it sort of makes it easier, I think, definitely.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And more fun.
And more
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
More
Yeah.
fun.
More fun.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for, eh? Oh, thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you so much for, well, I mean, yes, I thank you so much for like talking to me.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you so
you.
much for your work. I mean, first and foremost, your work, you know, thank you so much for that. And also, oh, I don't know, just thank you from me to the plant kingdom through you. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah,
really
I do.
I really appreciate that. And I can feel that, you know, the
Oh,
voice of the plants. There's a few people that I know in this world who listen, who can listen and can amplify the voice of the plants. And they're here to serve. Like we're all here to serve, right?
we're all here to serve. It just happens that I'm more the conduit for the plants in the
Yeah,
trees. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's an honor and I love it. And I love
yeah,
speaking to people like you who understand a bigger picture that we're going through in the world right now.
yeah, absolutely. And please send our love back to those to those plants.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
them
I'll
from
do it
us.
right now. Yep, they received it. Oh.
So much.
Oh, lovely.
Awesome, Amy. Well, I hope you have
Okay,
a lovely everything, and I really look
you
forward to seeing
too.
how this how this
The
progresses.
synergy.
And I'll
Yeah,
let you know,
yeah,
you know, I'm sure you'll hear back from each person, but I'll let you know collectively how this module goes, and you'll see from people ordering. And yeah, we'll just
yeah,
keep the conversation going because I just
yeah,
adore, you
yeah.
know, adore you and adore what you do.
Oh, it's an honor and a blessing to have you too.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.